Welcome, Miss Believe Educational Center exam preparation, and in this snippet we're going to look at the significant figures. So there are some common errors that students face, especially in exams where they number one, treat significant figures as decimal places. So for example, you then have maybe 0.00372, and then you're asked to put it to two significant figures. And then most students, what they normally do when they treat this number as a decimal place rather than a significant figure is that they try to count from decimal places. So counting on decimal places is a wrong way to do it. And also, again, number two, the students don't know where to start counting from. So if they don't know where to start counting from, maybe a student has been asked to count to two significant figures, and then from that they start counting from this first zero, so they'll be counting from a wrong place. So we need to correct that. So let's look at this. What are significant figures? So that's the thing that every student needs to understand first of all. So significant figures, these are non-zero digits on a number. So they are non-zero digits on a number. That means that they are significant. Then the first significant number is the first non-zero digit as you read from left to right. So we are reading from left to right. So when we look at a number, we read from left to right, number one, and number two, we have to observe if it is a non-zero digit. So looking at our first number here, which is 4,587, starting from our left to our right, we see that the first number is 4. It's a non-zero digit, so 4 becomes our first significant number, and then 5 becomes our second significant number, and then 8 becomes our third significant number, and then lastly 7 is our fourth significant number. And then we also look at the other example, which involves decimals, and starting from the left to the right. If we start from the left, here we go, we have zeros. So these zeros, we don't count them because they are not significant. So we start from this 5. So this 5 becomes our first significant, and then 1 becomes our second significant, and 4 becomes our third significant number. So we have to also look at the rules of significant numbers and how they are applied. So the first rule is that preceding zeros are not significant. So preceding zeros, these are zeros that come before a significant number or that come before a number. So these preceding zeros, for example, we have 0.00. So these zeros, they are coming before a significant number. These ones, they are what we call preceding zeros. They are not significant numbers. So we have to start from 5 counting onwards for significant numbers. And then number two, zeros that are in between are counted as significant. So mind this, we're talking about zeros not being significant, but the zeros that are in between, are counted as significant. So let's look at this number. Here we have our 0. Our 0 is in between 3 and 5. So if it is in between 3 and 5, it is considered as a significant figure. So which means that the first 3 is the first significant figure, and this 0 becomes the second significant figure, and 5 becomes the third significant figure, 1 becomes what? The fourth, and then this 3 becomes the fifth, and then lastly this 1 becomes the sixth significant figure. Then let's look at our examples. So example number 1, 0.000456 to two significant figures. So we want two significant figures on our number. So what then we do is that first of all we have to take note of this comma. After taking note of this comma, we have to understand the figures that are coming after there. Then the second significant figure, we start counting from 4 is the first one and 5 is the second one. So if 5 is the second, the next 6 then affects this 5. So the next number, which is 6, if it is 5 and above, it then adds a 1 to the 5. But if it is below 5, it doesn't affect this number. So this one becomes 6, and then we write the numbers that are before, then 0, 0, 0, and then we have our comma, we have 0. So now this one becomes equal to 0 point, we have our zeros, and then it becomes 4, 6. So this is our number to two significant figures. And then we go to number 2, 3074 to one significant figure. Remember, we then look here, there was supposed to be a comma. That's where we have a comma. It's not there, but that's where we have a comma, and then we have 0 zeros after. So we go to the first significant figure, which is 3. So 3 here, the next number is 0. Then when 0 affects 3, it just becomes 3. And then these other numbers now, they are turned to zeros. So 3074 to one significant figure becomes 3000. And then let's look at the third one, which is 699.99 to three significant figures. Again, we also consider the place value for the comma so that we don't miss the other values. Then to three significant figures, we have 1, we have 6 as the first significant figure, 2, and then we have 3. So we are looking at this 9 here. So we consider the other 9. So that other 9 is above 5, then it adds 1, then this becomes 10, then it adds 1 to the other 9, and then it becomes 10, and then it adds 1 to 6, and then 6 becomes 7, and then we fill in the other missing values, so it becomes 700. So 699 to three significant figures, that's equal to 700. So that's how you work on the significant figures. And remember, significant figures are not decimal places. You have to treat them counting from the first significant figure, which is the first non-zero digit, starting from the left to the right. And the other last thing is that if a 0 is in between, it is also considered as a significant figure. Thank you. If you